Hey guys, how's it going? It's Aaron, or LM9, and happy May 4th. Since it's Star Wars Day, I knew I had to have some new custom LEGO Star Wars minifigures finished up, so here is a continuation of my custom figures from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, 3 years ago, on May 4th, 2018, I posted what were the only figures I really wanted to make from The Phantom Menace, that being only Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul. However, right now I'm trying to fill the gaps in my custom LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga project and felt that this film was highly underrepresented in my collection. Now, since the LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga video game just got delayed even more, I thought I'd take advantage of that time and work on filling those gaps, starting with Episode 1. So for this video, I have 2 updated figures, being Maul and Qui-Gon, and 3 brand new figures, so let's go ahead and take a better look. First up is Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, like I said, this figure has just been updated from its previous version. The most notable update is the head. I got rid of the terrible official LEGO head that I was using and painted this new one almost completely from scratch. I'm definitely really happy with this change, as I think this face captures Liam Neeson's likeness a little better than that older LEGO head, but let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. The other updates on this guy are pretty minimal. I outlined some stuff on the boots in black, outlined some of the robes, added some wrinkles here and there, and painted the hair to match the new head. Overall, I think updating Qui-Gon was a good idea since that old one really didn't look that great anymore. To go along with Qui-Gon, here is my Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this figure might look a little familiar, and that's because these Jedi robes are the same exact ones I showed you guys how to make in my tutorial from last year. So it's taken me that long to finish this guy up. If you guys are interested in learning how to make these Jedi robes, definitely go give that video a watch. But just to give a brief summary of this guy, I used some Cape Madness cloth for the robes, some E-tape for the boot straps, and then literally just painted everything. The head was a Samwise Gamgee head from Lord of the Rings that I painted some details onto, and the hair is the mullet hairpiece with the back kind of cut off and then resculpted and modified to have a weird ponytail thing and his Padawan braid. His lightsaber was built using a LEGO lightsaber piece, some ribbed bar piece from a Galaxy Conquest gun, and then some other details were sculpted on. Some cool techniques I did want to share was some shading on the hair. This was a base coat of Apple Barrel Chestnut, and then I used some Citadel shade paints to kind of darken it up and give it a more vibrant color and just give it a nice blended appearance. Also, Citadel Runefang Steel is one of the best silver paints I've ever used and would highly recommend it, especially for lightsaber hilts. Moving on, here is my updated Darth Maul. Now, my first Maul figure I made really did not age well at all, mainly the head. I learned a lot after making that first Maul head, and I feel like I improved upon it for my Clone Wars Maul last year, but I wanted to take another crack at it now and make a neutral face instead of a grimacing expression that's on that Clone Wars Maul. What I did for this head was first sculpt the dome, and then I dry sculpted all of the horns. Once all the horns were cured, I kind of cut them up into the right shapes and glued them onto the head, and then resculpted some just to give them better shaping and better support if they needed them. Everything was then painted up, and this head is actually 100% painted with no guide, unlike my previous versions where I had some sort of printed face on there that I could use as a guide. Nope, this one was just completely blank that I just painted completely from scratch, so I'm really happy with the result on that. For comparison, here is this new head compared to the old one. As you can see, kind of night and day here. Definitely a big difference here between these two. Then also here's this new head compared with the head on my Clone Wars Maul. Other updates on this guy include some various gray outlines and some added wrinkles, but also a brand new lightsaber hilt since that old one was super basic. This one was made from some LEGO hilts, some harpoon pieces, and a Big Kid Bricks lightsaber hilt. Other than that, there's not much to this guy. I think Maul was the most dated figure in my collection, so I'm really glad I went back and revised him. Next up, here is Queen Amidala. Now, this outfit is so unique for Star Wars and has this extremely regal presence, and I knew I wanted to add her to my collection when I thought about making these figures to fill the gaps. The official LEGO figure of this outfit of Padme here, or Queen Amidala, is honestly really great, so I was struggling to come up with things to just add to this figure to make it a little better and fit in with the style of figures that I make. And I decided to just sculpt some sleeves onto the arms, since her sleeves really droop down in the movie. And then I also used some cloth for the centerpiece of the dress and to wrap above the shoulders. I added some metallic red highlights as the stitching around the dress, some more vibrantly colored light pieces at the bottom, and some fairly complicated gold embroidery designs in the center of the dress on that cloth. The head was left untouched, so this is the official LEGO head, but I did have to repaint some of the hairpiece because some of the print had worn off, and I wanted the colors to be consistent across the whole figure. And before you ask, yes, I did paint over some very, very expensive LEGO parts on this figure, but in my defense, I bought this figure a couple years ago for a good price, and I always have had the intention of painting on to some of these pieces, so I'm not really too worried about that. But for you LEGO Puritans out there, just know I can always wipe this paint off if I really do regret it. But right now, I'm really happy with this, and it's definitely one of the most eye-catching figures in my collection. Now, the last figure was actually a very, very highly requested figure, of course, being Jar Jar Binks. I know most people don't really care for the character, and neither do I really, but this figure was an absolute blast to make. Not only because it's Jar Jar, but because not many people have really made custom Jar Jars in the community, so it's always really fun to make figures that aren't that common, and Jar Jar was no different. Now, Gungans are pretty tall compared to humans, so I extended the legs and the arms. On the legs, I also sculpted some toes onto the feet, which was an idea inspired by my friend Yale, also known as 97 Lego Maniac. The legs and the shirt were painted in a dark brown, and the cloth vest and the skirt piece are in a dark tan that has a brown wash on it. The arms and hands have a tan skin tone with a gradual shift to a more reddish flesh colors and some darker flesh texturing. Jar Jar's head is the official LEGO piece that was then repainted in all of the same skin tones as the arms, both on the front and on the back. I think it turned out pretty good. One thing I debated on doing was resculpting the mouth to make it more of a smile, but I thought that might look kind of weird and goofy, so I just left it as is, but maybe for a version 2 if enough people want it. But yeah, that is pretty much it for Jar Jar Binks. And there you guys have it, my new and revised figures from The Phantom Menace. Earlier in the video, I mentioned how I was filling some gaps in my Skywalker Saga custom minifigure collection, and this was all I really had planned for the prequels, and I'll be moving on to the original trilogy next, and then eventually the sequel trilogy, just to make some new figures and revise some old ones. But if you guys have any suggestions for figures you want to see added to this lineup that I haven't already made, or you want to see figures revised that I have made, just let me know down in the comments. I'm always open to more suggestions, and debating on how long it takes for that Skywalker Saga video game to come out will give me, you know, a good estimate of how much time I'll have to work on these guys. So might be able to squeeze in a few here and there that I don't already have planned. But anyway, that'll be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.